Commander Veltar stared at the strange signal on his screen. The lights blinked in a pattern he had never seen before. His ship, the Serenity's Call, was floating quietly in space when the message came through their communication system. "Sir, we are getting a distress call," said Officer Kethra from her station. Her blue skin looked pale under the soft lights of the bridge. "But something is wrong with it." Veltar walked over to look at the data. The Federation had rules about helping anyone who sent out a call for help. It did not matter what species they were or where they came from. If someone was in trouble, the Federation would try to save them. "Where is it coming from?" he asked. "That is the strange part, sir. The signal is coming from the Sol system. Our maps show there is a planet there called Terra, but it is marked as a Class 12 death world." Veltar felt his heart skip a beat. A Class 12 death world was the most dangerous type of planet in the galaxy. The gravity was too strong. The weather was too violent. The air had too much poison. Nothing could live there for more than a few minutes. "Are you sure about the location?" he asked. "Yes, sir. The signal is definitely coming from that system. Someone is alive there and they need help." Veltar looked around his bridge. His crew was made up of different species from across the galaxy, but they all shared the same values. They believed in peace, harmony, and helping others. The Kethani people had built their whole society around these ideas, and the Federation followed the same path. "How long has the signal been transmitting?" he asked. "About 6 hours, sir. It keeps repeating the same message over and over." Officer Kethra played the message through the ship's speakers. It was in a language none of them had heard before, but their computers quickly translated it. "This is Captain James Mitchell of the Earth vessel Iron Wolf. Our ship has broken down and we need help. We are peaceful explorers. Please respond if anyone can hear this message." The bridge became very quiet. Earth was another name for Terra. That meant someone was actually living on that nightmare planet. "Sir," said Dr. ZYXon, the ship's science officer, "this cannot be right. No species can evolve on a Class 12 death world. The planet would kill them before they could develop intelligence." Veltar nodded. He had studied many different worlds during his career, and he knew Dr. ZYXon was correct. Terra had too much radiation from its star. The planet had huge storms that could destroy entire cities. The ground shook all the time from earthquakes. The air was full of deadly gases. Even the water was dangerous to drink. "Maybe they are survivors from a crashed ship," suggested Officer Kethra. "Perhaps their vessel went down on the planet and they managed to build a transmitter." That made more sense to Veltar. Sometimes exploration ships would have accidents and crash on dangerous worlds. The crews would try to survive until help arrived, but most of the time they would die before anyone could reach them. "How many ships do we have in the area?" he asked. "The rescue fleet has 12 vessels, sir. We can be at Terra in 3 days if we use maximum speed." Veltar made his decision quickly. "Send a message to all ships. We are going to help these survivors. Prepare for rescue operations." The crew began working immediately. They loaded medical supplies, food, and emergency equipment. Dr. ZYXon studied everything they knew about Terra so they could prepare for the dangerous conditions. "Sir," Dr. ZYXon said after reading the planet's data, "the gravity there is 1.3 times normal. The atmosphere has 21% oxygen, which is toxic to most species. The surface temperature changes between freezing and boiling. There are massive storms that move across the continents. The planet has active volcanoes and frequent earthquakes." Veltar felt sick just thinking about such a horrible place. How could anyone survive there even for a short time? "We will need full environmental suits," he said. "And we must work quickly once we arrive." The Federation rescue fleet jumped into hyperspace and began the journey to Terra. During the trip, they continued to receive the distress signal. The message never changed, but it proved that someone was still alive on that deadly world. Veltar spent the time reading reports about other rescue missions. He had saved many people during his career, but he had never attempted a rescue from a Class 12 death world. Most species would be dead within hours of landing on such a planet. "Sir," Officer Kethra said on the second day of their journey, "we are getting more transmissions from the area. It sounds like there might be multiple survivors." "How many do you think?" "Hard to say, but the signal strength suggests maybe 50 or 60 individuals." Veltar was surprised. That was a lot of people to survive on Terra, even for a short time. They must have found some kind of shelter, or maybe they had very good survival equipment. On the third day, the rescue fleet dropped out of hyperspace near Terra. Veltar looked at the planet on his main screen and felt fear run through his body. Terra was a blue and green world covered in white clouds. It looked beautiful from space, but he knew it was a trap. Beautiful things in space were often the most dangerous. Captain Mitchell, this is Commander Veltar of the Federation Rescue Fleet. We received your distress call and we are here to help you. The response came back quickly, and it changed everything Veltar thought he knew about the universe. Commander Veltar, this is Captain Mitchell. Thank you for responding to our call. We are grateful for your help, and we welcome you to our solar system. Our solar system. The words hit Veltar like a physical blow. These were not crash survivors waiting to be rescued. These were the natives of this impossible world. Commander Veltar stared at his communication screen in shock. The voice coming through the speakers was calm and friendly, but the words made no sense to him. Commander, we appreciate you coming all this way to help us, Captain Mitchell said. Our jump drive broke down during our first trip to another star system. We have been stuck here for 2 weeks trying to fix it. Officer Kethra looked at Veltar with wide eyes. Sir, he said their first trip to another star system. That means they built this ship themselves. Veltar felt dizzy. These creatures had somehow evolved on the most dangerous type of planet in the galaxy. Not only had they survived, but they had also developed space travel. It seemed impossible. Captain Mitchell, Veltar said carefully, we need to understand your situation better. Can you tell us more about your people? Of course, Mitchell replied. We are humans from the planet Earth. This is our first mission beyond our solar system. We were exploring nearby star systems when our experimental drive failed. Dr. ZYXN was scanning the human ship with their sensors. His face became more worried as he read the data. Sir, their vessel is unlike anything we have ever seen. The hull is made of some kind of metal that is incredibly thick. There are weapon systems built into the structure. Weapons? Veltar asked. Captain Mitchell, why does your ship have weapons? There was a pause before Mitchell answered. Standard precaution, Commander. We did not know what we might find out here. Our engineers always build ships to handle any situation. This worried Veltar even more. Most civilized species in the galaxy had given up weapons long ago. The Federation had rules about keeping peace between different worlds. Only security forces and military ships carried weapons, and they were used only for protection against pirates and dangerous animals. Sir, Officer Kethra whispered, I am detecting more ships in this system. They appear to be coming toward us. Veltar looked at his tactical display. 3 more human ships were approaching their position. They were smaller than the Iron Wolf, but they also carried weapons. Captain Mitchell, we see other ships heading our way. Are they part of your mission? Those are patrol ships from Earth Defense Command, Mitchell explained. They want to make sure everything is okay. First contact with aliens is pretty important to us. The word aliens made Veltar uncomfortable. In the Federation, all species were considered equal members of the galactic community. Calling someone an alien suggested they were different or foreign. Captain, we prefer not to use that term. We are all citizens of the galaxy. Sorry, Commander. We meant no offense. This is all new to us. Dr. ZYXN finished his scans and showed the results to Veltar. The data was frightening. The human ships were built like weapons themselves. Every part of their design focused on survival and combat. These were not the ships of a peaceful civilization. Captain Mitchell, Veltar said, trying to keep his voice calm, we need to discuss relocating your people to a safer world. Terra is far too dangerous for any species to live on permanently. The silence that followed lasted for almost a minute. Commander, Mitchell finally said, and his voice was different now. It was colder and harder. Earth is our home. We have lived here for thousands of years. We are not interested in being relocated. But surely you understand the dangers, Veltar insisted. The radiation levels, the violent weather, the unstable geology. No civilized species should have to endure such conditions. Civilized species. Mitchell's voice became even colder. Commander, I think there has been a misunderstanding. We chose to contact you for help with our ship, not to be lectured about our home world. Officer Kethra was monitoring the human communications channels. Her face showed fear as she listened to their conversations. Sir, they are talking about defense protocols. I think they see us as a threat now. Veltar tried to fix the situation. Captain, please understand. The Federation has a duty to protect all intelligent life. We cannot leave you on such a dangerous world. We have many beautiful planets where you could build new homes. Places with gentle weather and safe conditions. And what if we refuse? Mitchell asked. Then we would have to insist. For your own safety, of course. The communication channel went silent. On the tactical display, the human ships changed their positions. They were now surrounding the Federation rescue fleet. Sir, said the tactical officer, the human ships have activated their weapon systems. They are targeting our vessels. Veltar could not believe what was happening. They had come here to help these people, and now the humans were threatening them. Captain Mitchell, there is no need for hostility. We only want to help you. Commander Veltar, Mitchell replied, and his voice was now like ice, let me make something very clear. We did not ask for your help to leave our home. We asked for help to fix our ship. If you cannot provide that help, then please leave our system. I am afraid we cannot do that, Captain. Federation law requires us to protect primitive species from dangerous environments. Primitive? Mitchell's voice carried anger now. Commander, I suggest you reconsider your choice of words. We may be new to space travel, but we are not primitive. Dr. ZYXN was studying the human ship designs on his screen. Sir, I am beginning to understand their technology. They build everything expecting it to be attacked or damaged. Their ships are designed for war, not exploration. All Federation ships, this is Commander Veltar, he broadcast to his fleet. Prepare to disable the human vessels. We will take their crews into protective custody until we can arrange proper relocation. The moment those words left his mouth, alarms began ringing throughout his ship. Sir, shouted the tactical officer. The humans are locking weapons onto our ships. Captain Mitchell's voice came through the speakers one last time, and it was filled with quiet menace. Commander, you just made a very big mistake. The moment Commander Veltar gave the order to disable the human ships, everything changed. Captain Mitchell's voice came through the speakers, but now it sounded completely different. Gone was the friendly tone from their first conversation. What remained was cold and dangerous. All hands, battle stations, Mitchell announced to his crew. Looks like our new friends just declared war on us. Lieutenant Tom Bradley sat at the weapons control station aboard the Iron Wolf. He had been waiting for this moment since they left Earth. Every human ship carried weapons because history had taught them a simple lesson. If you went somewhere unprepared, you usually died there. Weapons online, Captain, Bradley reported. All systems green. Fire when ready, Lieutenant. The Federation ships fired first. Commander Veltar watched as bright energy beams shot from his vessels toward the human ship. These were standard disabling weapons, designed to shut down enemy systems without killing anyone. The Federation had used them successfully for hundreds of years. The energy beams hit the Iron Wolf and scattered like light hitting a mirror. The human ship's hull was covered in a special coating that reflected energy weapons. Not a single system on the human vessel was damaged. Impossible, whispered Dr. ZYXN. Nothing should be able to deflect our weapons like that. Return fire, Captain Mitchell ordered calmly. What happened next terrified every alien in the Federation fleet. The Iron Wolf did not use energy weapons like civilized species. Instead, massive guns built into the ship's hull fired solid metal projectiles at incredible speed. The tungsten bullets, each one the size of a small vehicle, smashed into the lead Federation ship. The elegant alien vessel had shields designed to stop energy weapons, but they were useless against solid objects moving at such high speed. The projectiles punched through the ship's hull like paper. Hull breach on Deck 7, screamed the damage control officer aboard Veltar's ship. We have lost main power. Lieutenant Bradley watched his weapons display with satisfaction. Direct hit, Captain. Their lead ship is disabled. Good shooting, Tom. Target the next vessel. Engineer Lisa Morgan worked at her station, monitoring the ship's power systems. The Iron Wolf had been built in the shipyards above Earth, designed by people who expected everything in space to try to kill them. Every system had backups. Every weapon had multiple ways to fire. Every piece of equipment was built to keep working even after taking heavy damage. Captain, all systems running perfectly, she reported. We can keep this up all day. The second Federation ship tried to retreat, but Bradley's railguns were faster. Another salvo of tungsten projectiles disabled the alien vessel before it could escape. Commander Veltar stared at his tactical display in horror. Two of his ships were drifting helplessly in space, their crews sending out emergency calls. The human vessel had barely been scratched. What kind of monsters are these? Asked Officer Kethra. Dr. ZYXN was frantically analyzing the human ship's design. What he discovered made him feel sick. Commander, they do not think like us at all. Look at their vessel, every surface is armored. Every system can be turned into a weapon. They built this ship expecting to fight for their lives. Sir, the communications officer reported, I am intercepting their internal communications. They are discussing whether to use something called nuclear torpedoes on us. Veltar felt his blood freeze. Nuclear weapons had been banned by the Federation for over 1,000 years. They were considered too dangerous and barbaric for civilized warfare. Aboard the Iron Wolf, Captain Mitchell was reviewing their options. The aliens had attacked first, which meant Earth's rules of engagement now applied. His ship carried enough firepower to destroy the entire enemy fleet, but he was trying to avoid unnecessary killing. Captain, called Navigator David Clark from his station, we are receiving surrender signals from 2 of their ships. The others are trying to retreat. Let them go, David. We have made our point. Sir, Lieutenant Bradley said, should I disable their remaining vessels? Mitchell thought for a moment. Negative. We came out here to explore, not to start a war. But if they attack us again, finish them. Commander Veltar listened to the human communications with growing fear. These creatures were showing mercy, but their version of mercy still involved nuclear weapons and ships designed for total war. He realized that his rescue fleet was completely outmatched. Dr. ZYXN, he said quietly, what have we learned about their home planet? Terror is worse than we thought, sir. The gravity is crushing. The atmosphere is poisonous to most species. The weather includes storms that could destroy our cities. But somehow, these humans evolved to survive there. More than survive, they learned to thrive in conditions that would kill us in minutes. And their technology? Primitive by our standards, but incredibly effective. They build everything expecting it to break, expecting to be attacked, expecting to fail. So when their equipment does work, it works better than our advanced systems. Officer Kethra was monitoring the other human ships in the system. Sir, the vessels from Earth are approaching. 3 more ships, all armed with the same weapons. Veltar made a decision that would save his fleet. Open a channel to Captain Mitchell. Yes, Commander? Captain, we may have misunderstood your situation. Perhaps we were too hasty in our judgment. There was a long pause before Mitchell responded. Commander, let me explain something about humans. We do not like being threatened. We especially do not like being told we cannot live in our own homes. But we are reasonable people. If you want to talk, we can talk. If you want to fight, we can do that too. Dr. ZYXN looked at his readings again. Sir, their ship is not even a warship. According to their classifications, it is a research vessel with light defensive armaments. The implications of that statement hit Veltar like a physical blow. If this was what humans considered lightly armed, what did their actual warships look like? Captain Mitchell, Veltar said carefully, perhaps we should start over with our first contact. 3 hours after the first battle, Admiral Rebecca Stone stood on the bridge of the Iron Wolf watching dozens of new contacts appear on their sensors. The Federation had called for reinforcements, and now 37 alien warships were dropping out of hyperspace around Earth's solar system. Captain Mitchell, she said to her commanding officer, it looks like they brought friends. Mitchell studied the tactical display with calm eyes. He had expected this response. When dealing with unknown aliens, humans always prepared for the worst possible outcome. How many ships, Admiral? 37 confirmed, with more arriving every few minutes, reported Navigator David Clark. They have us surrounded. Lieutenant Bradley checked his weapon systems again. The Iron Wolf had already proven it could handle Federation ships, but this many enemies would be a serious challenge. Captain, should I prepare the nuclear torpedoes? Not yet, Tom. Let's see what they want first. Aboard the Federation flagship Eternal Harmony, Admiral Thexan reviewed the battle reports from Commander Veltar's fleet. The data was disturbing. A single human research vessel had disabled 2 Federation ships without taking any damage. Their weapons were primitive but incredibly effective. Commander Veltar, Admiral Thexan said over the communication channel, explain to me how a science ship defeated your rescue fleet. Sir, these humans are not like any species we have encountered. Their ship is built like a weapon. Every system is designed for combat, even though they claim it is for research. Dr. ZYXN had been analyzing human communications and databases for hours. What he had discovered made him afraid to sleep. Admiral, I have been studying their culture and history. These creatures have been at war with their own planet for millions of years. Everything on their world tries to kill them, the weather, the animals, even the plants are poisonous. What does that have to do with their technology? They build everything expecting it to be destroyed, sir. Their ships, their weapons, their tools, everything is designed to work even when badly damaged. It makes their technology incredibly robust. Admiral Thexan looked at the human ship on his main screen. The Iron Wolf looked crude compared to Federation vessels, but it had already proven how dangerous it could be. Dr. ZYXN, what else have you learned about these humans? They are persistence predators, sir. On their world, they hunted animals by chasing them until the prey collapsed from exhaustion. They never give up. They never stop trying. And they learn from every failure. Lieutenant Bradley was proving that point at that very moment. During the break in fighting, he had been modifying the ship's mining equipment. The Iron Wolf carried industrial lasers for cutting apart asteroids, but Bradley had connected them to the weapon systems. Captain, I have rigged the mining lasers to work as beam weapons. They are not as powerful as our railguns, but they will give us more options in a fight. Engineer Lisa Morgan nodded approvingly from her station. Nice work, Tom. I have been looking at their ship designs. Their hulls are too light. Our mining lasers should cut right through them. This was exactly what terrified Dr. ZYXN about humans. They could look at any tool and figure out how to turn it into a weapon. Their minds work differently than other species. Admiral, Dr. ZYXN continued his report, they do not just fight, they innovate during combat. Every battle makes them more dangerous than before. Admiral Thexan decided to end this threat before it could grow worse. All ships, prepare to attack. We will disable their vessel and take the crew prisoner. The Federation fleet opened fire with everything they had. Energy beams, plasma cannons, and particle weapons all targeted the single human ship. The space around the Iron Wolf lit up like a star as dozens of weapons struck her hull. When the light faded, the human ship was still there. Her hull was blackened and scarred, but all her systems were still working. Impossible, whispered Admiral Thexan. Nothing should survive that much firepower. Captain Mitchell's voice came through the communication system, and he sounded annoyed rather than afraid. Is that the best you can do? Our planetary defense systems hit harder than that. Lieutenant Bradley smiled as he targeted the nearest Federation ship with his improvised laser weapon. The mining laser, designed to cut through solid rock, sliced the alien vessel's hull like butter. The elegant Federation ship broke apart, its crew screaming over the radio. 1 down, 36 to go, Bradley reported cheerfully. Admiral Stone watched the enemy fleet begin to retreat. They are learning, Captain. But they are learning too slowly. Dr. ZYXN was frantically scanning the human ship for damage. What he found made no sense. Admiral, their vessel should be destroyed. We hit them with enough firepower to level a city, but they are barely damaged. How is that possible? Their armor is not just thick, it is designed to spread impact across the entire hull. And look at this, they have 3 separate power systems, 7 different weapon clusters, and redundant life support throughout the ship. Even if we destroyed half their systems, they would still be dangerous. Admiral Thexan realized his fleet was fighting an enemy that had been designed by beings who expected to die in battle. Every human system had been built to keep working even when everything else failed. Sir, his communications officer reported, I am intercepting more human transmissions. They are discussing something called a ramming attack if we do not retreat. They want to ram us. Admiral Thexan could not believe what he was hearing. Dr. ZYXN checked his data again. Sir, their ship has a mass of over 50,000 tons, and it can accelerate to significant fractions of light speed. If they rammed us, the impact would destroy both vessels. But they would die too. I do not think they care, sir. According to their military doctrine, acceptable losses are whatever it takes to complete the mission. Admiral Thexan stared at the human ship and realized he was dealing with creatures that were willing to die to protect their home. The battle between the human ship and the Federation fleet had been raging for 2 hours when something changed. Deep space sensors on both sides detected a massive object moving toward them at incredible speed. What emerged from the darkness between stars made every warrior in the system stop fighting and stare in terror. The Void Reaper was ancient beyond measure. It had been built by a civilization that had died out millions of years ago, but its weapons still worked perfectly. The massive black ship was the size of a small moon, covered in weapons that could destroy entire planets. What is that thing? Asked Captain Mitchell, watching the enormous vessel appear on his screens. Admiral Stone studied the readings from their sensors. Unknown design, Captain. But it just destroyed 2 Federation ships without slowing down. Lieutenant Bradley tried to lock his weapons onto the ancient dreadnought, but his targeting systems could not get a clear reading. Captain, our weapons cannot penetrate whatever that thing is made of. Admiral Thexan aboard the Federation flagship was having the same problem. His fleet fired everything they had at the Void Reaper, but their energy weapons just bounced off its dark hull like light hitting a mirror. All ships, retreat. Admiral Thexan ordered. We cannot fight this thing. But the Void Reaper was faster than the Federation vessels. Its weapons reached out across space and began destroying the alien ships one by one. The elegant Federation vessels, designed for peaceful exploration, crumpled under the ancient weapon systems like paper in a fire. Dr. ZYXN watched his readings in horror. Admiral, that ship is using technology we do not understand. Our weapons cannot hurt it, and our shields cannot stop its attacks. Captain Mitchell made a decision that would change everything. Open a channel to Admiral Thexan. Channel open, sir. Admiral, we need to work together if we want to survive this. There was a long pause before Thexan replied. What do you suggest, Captain? Our weapons are useless against that thing. Our weapons might work better. But we need your help to get close enough. Navigator David Clark was already plotting a course toward the Void Reaper. Captain, if we approach from the rear, we might be able to avoid most of its weapons. Engineer Lisa Morgan was studying the power readings from her station. Sir, I can overload our fusion reactor. If we ram that thing at maximum speed, the explosion might destroy it. And us, added Lieutenant Bradley. Sometimes that is the price of victory, Admiral Stone said quietly. Captain Mitchell nodded. He understood what his crew was suggesting. The Iron Wolf could become a weapon itself, but it would mean certain death for everyone aboard. Admiral Thexan, we are going to attempt a ramming attack. But first, I am sending you all of our technical data. Maybe your people can use it to build better ships. Captain, you do not have to do this, Thexan replied. There must be another way. There is no time to find another way, Mitchell said. That thing is destroying your fleet. In a few minutes, it will head for Earth. My planet has 4 billion people on it. Dr. ZYXN received the human technical data and began studying it immediately. What he saw amazed him. Human ship designs were crude compared to Federation technology, but they were also incredibly practical. Every system had multiple backups. Every weapon could be used in different ways. Every tool could become something else if needed. Admiral, Dr. ZYXN reported, their approach to engineering is completely different from ours. They build everything expecting it to fail, so when it works better than our advanced systems. The Iron Wolf began accelerating toward the Void Reaper. Engineer Morgan had shut down all non-essential systems and was pushing the fusion reactor beyond its safety limits. The ship glowed with heat as it picked up speed. All Federation ships, move away from the target area, Admiral Stone ordered. This is going to be a big explosion. Lieutenant Bradley fired the ship's weapons at the ancient dreadnought as they approached. His railguns and improvised laser weapons had no effect on the Void Reaper's hull, but they got its attention. The ancient ship turned its weapons toward the approaching human vessel. Beams of energy that could vaporize mountains struck the Iron Wolf again and again. But the human ship had been built by beings who expected everything to try to kill them. The thick armor and redundant systems kept the ship flying even as pieces of it burned away. Hull breach on Deck 3, Lisa Morgan reported. Losing atmosphere on Decks 5 and 6. Reactor at 150% capacity and climbing. Keep us flying, Lisa, Mitchell ordered. Just a little longer. The collision happened at nearly the speed of light. The Iron Wolf, glowing like a small sun from its overloaded reactor, smashed into the Void Reaper's hull. The explosion lit up the entire solar system. When the light faded, both ships were gone. The space where they had been was filled with glowing debris and radiation. Admiral Thexan stared at his screens in silence. The humans had sacrificed themselves to save both fleets. They had given their lives to protect people they had been fighting just hours before. Sir, Dr. ZYXN said quietly, I have finished analyzing their technical data. Their way of building ships, it might be exactly what we need to fight threats like the Void Reaper. 3 months later, a Federation diplomatic ship arrived at Earth. Admiral Thexan himself carried the message to the human government. We came to your system thinking we were rescuing primitive creatures from a dangerous world, he said to the human leaders. We learned that you are not primitive at all. You are dangerous in the best possible way. The message he delivered was simple: the galaxy has threats we cannot handle alone. We could use some dangerous friends. Earth's response was equally simple: when do we start?